All hell is breaking loose as Donald Trump gives up to Russia, and the world is furious at Donald Trump's betrayal. Donald Trump's catastrophic war in Iran continues to get worse for the United States. Trump rants and raves like a lunatic. He continues to attack NATO. He continues to attack Ukraine. Russia's special envoy to the United States and sovereign wealth fund leader Kirill Dmitriev just posted "Goodbye NATO" with a dove emoji as Donald Trump continues to attack NATO. Lots of observers are saying Russia is elated at the prospect of the U.S. leaving NATO. Now, at the MeidasTouch network, we've done videos like all hell breaks loose as Trump's blockade collapses. Donald Trump claimed he was doing a blockade of Cuba, denying Mexico, Colombia, and any other nation to provide oil and humanitarian relief to Cuba. But when Vladimir Putin wanted to come in with his tankers, Donald Trump said, "Come on in, Vladimir Putin," and allowed Putin to become a hero in Cuba by delivering the oil, while Donald Trump blocked America's allies from doing that. And Donald Trump claimed he was not going to let anybody get into Cuba to deliver oil or humanitarian aid. We did another video called "All Hell Breaks Loose" as Trump surrenders to Russia. And this video involved Donald Trump removing sanctions on Russian oil, allowing Russia to make billions of dollars every day selling oil. In addition, Donald Trump has recently removed sanctions on Russian vessels that were sanctioned. Oh, and of course, Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans in Congress invited key leaders from Russia's Duma, which is basically their Senate, to visit Washington, D.C., take a tour of the Capitol, meet with the State Department, and have high-level meetings with MAGA Republican Congress members. And folks, it gets worse, though, because now with Donald Trump's weakness, the product of the visit by Japan's Prime Minister Takaishi to the United States, as well as Donald Trump's catastrophic war in Iran, causing this supply shock to oil. Now Japan, which would otherwise potentially run out of crude and run out of liquefied natural gas and run out of key supplies, now that Donald Trump has removed sanctions on Russia, Japan is getting ready to make big purchases of Russian oil. And you just put it all together, right? I mean, Japan, their Prime Minister Takaishi recently met with Donald Trump. Trump removes the sanctions on Russia. Trump is making Russia very rich right now. Japanese journalist Hirono Takashi reports that Japanese Prime Minister Takaishi is readying to get her hands on all that Russian blood money, sending a team to meet up with Putin's people next month. Seems like Donald Trump and his regime are helping facilitate that. Here's what we learned about from Hirono Takashi. Disturbing news from Japan. According to the Kyoto sources, Tokyo plans to send an economic mission to Russia, counting on the full resumption of Japanese companies following the conclusion of Russian full-scale aggression against Ukraine. At least 5 of the largest retail companies, including Mitsubishi, Mitsui, have received requests to participate. A visit is planned in May. Kyoto logically notes, as the war rages on in Japan as well as the Western countries apply economic sanctions, the vigor of such a plan is likely to be questioned. Around the premier, Takaishi gathered a team of former prime ministers, a former Prime Minister Abe, which has quite a pro-Russian official who are part of this thing. Takaishi herself is not considered to be too knowledgeable in the sensitivity on foreign policy, and advisors advise her that if so-and-so did it, you should be able to do it as well. And people are saying that she's considering buying Russian oil right there as well. Also, there was a major phone call that just took place between Iranian's Foreign Minister Araghchi and the Foreign Minister of Russia, Sergei Lavrov. And during this call, they talked about further coordination between the countries, as well as blocking any United Nations resolution that would call for allowing offensive military strikes to take place in the Strait of Hormuz. And so they're holding these conversations very publicly. It's also notable that from the latest reporting, France would also be joining China and Russia to block any Bahrain-backed United Nations Security Council resolution calling for any type of invasion or offensive capabilities to be launched in the Strait of Hormuz. I mean, French President Emmanuel Macron, in addition to denying Donald Trump the right to use French airspace as well as French military bases as part of this unlawful and catastrophic war in Iran, Macron has said, look, going into the Strait of Hormuz is basically a suicide mission, and there would be mass casualties. The war would never end. It's probably the worst thing that you can do right now. And this was all caused by Donald Trump going it alone, not securing the Strait of Hormuz when the war began. It's 100% Donald Trump's fault right now. Also, to show you what a bootlicker Donald Trump is, Putin, what a sycophant he is of Vladimir Putin. Here we have the official office of the vice president itinerary coming up. J.D. Vance will visit Hungary next week to show support with Viktor Orban. That's Putin's puppet over there in Hungary ahead of the election, which is coming up in the next 2 weeks as well. As Jay in Kyiv explains, Trump sending J.D. Vance to rescue Hungary's Russian-backed Viktor Orban regime will prove as effective as when Trump sent Vance to rescue Germany's Russian-backed AfD party last year. And again, it should be noted that the AfD party has been saying they want all American military bases out of Germany right now. Foreign Policy magazine has the following headline: Trump is losing the war in Iran. 1 month in, the Islamic Republic is winning merely by surviving. I do want to note as well what the Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk posted earlier yesterday. So as Kirill Dmitriev of Russia is spiking the football and saying goodbye NATO because Donald Trump keeps on attacking NATO, Tusk, the Prime Minister of Poland, posted the following: the threat of NATO's breakup, easing sanctions on Russia, a massive energy crisis in Europe, halting aid for Ukraine, and blocking the loan for Kyiv by Orban. It all looks like Putin's dream plan. Right? All of this. Donald Trump is complicit, compliant, aiding and abetting. Trump lifts the oil sanctions against Putin. Donald Trump lifts the sanctions against Russian vessels, invites the sanctioned Duma members to Washington, D.C., legitimizes them, allows the Russian tankers into Cuba, denies American allies the right to help Cuba. You got to be confident, right, that Russia's also bringing weapons to aid and help Cuba. Everybody remembers the Cuban Missile Crisis. Like, everything that we've done in the past where like America's like stood strong or stood its ground or whatever, you know, right now Donald Trump's doing in reverse, but in fast forward, it's like right here, Putin just easily breaks the blockade, goes right in. And then the people of Cuba are very grateful and thankful that they've got the oil and the supplies because Donald Trump was starving them and let Putin become the hero versus allowing our allies to deliver, or just not doing the blockade in the first place. How about that? Not committing the war crime of the blockade against Cuba in the first place.
So this story is absolutely insane. Trump is taking $1 billion in taxpayer money and handing it to a French energy giant to cancel offshore wind farms and instead boost oil and gas production here in the United States. So give me a minute to update you on this because it's flying under the radar and we need to keep climate issues front and center. Here's what's happening. The Trump administration is paying nearly $1 billion to Total Energies to walk away from 2 major offshore wind projects, one off New York and one off North Carolina. These projects would have powered over 1 million homes with clean energy. Now they're gone. And what do we get in return? The company takes that same money and invests it into fossil fuels, more oil drilling in the Gulf, more natural gas exports out of Texas, more gas-powered plants. So let's be clear about what's happening. Taxpayer dollars are being used to kill clean energy projects and double down on fossil fuels, the very thing driving climate change. Even state leaders right now are calling this outrageous. saying that we're literally paying a company not to build renewable energy. And this, of course, comes at a time when global instability is already driving up oil prices, when experts say investing in renewables actually makes us more secure, not less. So yeah, this is a really, really big deal. I want to hear from you. Drop a comment right now. What do you think about using taxpayer money this way? Should we be investing in clean energy instead of shutting it down? Let's get this conversation going. It's so important that you stay loud. I look forward to reading your comments. Ben, back to you.
Some other developments taking place that I think are very notable too, right? As Russia gains power, as China gains power, as America looks weaker by the day, the GCC, basically the Gulf Coast countries, the alliance there, they're basically saying they're going to need to form their own security umbrella once this war is over because they can't rely on the United States anymore. The U.S. is not able to provide any security umbrella of any meaningful amount. Donald Trump can brag about, oh, look what we do for all of you. But at this point, Donald Trump has caused trillions and trillions of dollars of damages in the Middle East. Similarly, Jordan's parliament speaker calls for this post-war joint defense economic treaty to encompass the Arab world in order to try to serve as a check and balance against a stronger Iran, right? Iran is coming out of this richer with control of the Strait of Hormuz. If this ends soon, they're going to be charging tolls in the Strait of Hormuz. The price of oil will be basically something that Iran can manipulate at any given moment. And so, these Arab nations are saying, what can we do together at this point in order to create some sort of deterrence mechanisms because the United States is so utterly weak right now. I mentioned this before, but let me mention again, France blocking any UN Security Council resolution that would call for like an invasion of the Strait of Hormuz. Because here's what Macron has been saying. We must be serious. And when we are serious, we do not say the opposite of what we said the day before. Perhaps we should not speak every day. We should simply calm things down and build lasting peace. In other words, Donald, stop talking. Your words and your constant contradictions and saying the opposite of what you said one day, the other day, it's really not helping. It's making things worse. Just calm down, take a break, stop saying words. And maybe things could get a little better if the grown-ups actually deal with this. Macron also said the following to Donald Trump. Here was his message at Trump. Hey, Donald, be serious. When we are serious, we do not say the opposite of what we said the day before. 6 months ago, you told us, Donald, that everything had been destroyed and settled. Clearly, that was not the case. Without international inspectors verifying materials, research, and hidden sites, it's simply not serious. You're simply not serious, Donald. When it comes to the Strait of Hormuz, listen, opening by force is not the option we have chosen in France. We consider it unrealistic. A military operation to reopen it would take an infinite amount of time and expose forces to immense coastal and ballistic risks. From the beginning, we have said it must be reopened, but only in coordination with Iran. The world cannot live with a strait that can be opened or closed overnight. Another notable development that we should be talking about, like in addition to Donald Trump threatening to blow up more bridges, blowing up bridges yesterday, bragging about it, and, which is a clear and undisputed war crime. Donald Trump's been begging Iran to come to the negotiating table and to come up with some deal, to come up with some ceasefire. Iran has said it's not interested in any ceasefire. It has its certain non-negotiables. They want complete security guarantees that the United States and Israel won't strike not just Iran, but Iranian Shiite groups in Iraq, Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthis in Yemen, Iranian Shiite groups in Iraq, and full reparations. Iran gets to keep all its ballistic missiles and drones and Shahids and FPVs. Iran gets to control the Strait of Hormuz, and Iran gets reparations and an apology. That's basically the outset of the Iranian non-negotiables. But in any event, Trump's been telling Pakistan, hey, Pakistan, can you help us with Iran? They don't want to talk to us. Pakistan tried to help, so Pakistan reached out to a guy named Kamal Karazi. This was Pakistan's move. They reached out to Kamal Karazi. He's Iran's former minister. He's former foreign minister. He's someone who was believed by Pakistan to be possibly involved in negotiations. Even though the current Iranian regime was not interested in speaking with the United States, this was one of the ways that Pakistan said, okay, here's how we can be helpful. Let's get Kamal Karazi to be involved in negotiating. So once the U.S. and Israel found out Kamal Karazi's location, because he was involved with Pakistan and he came out to be helpful to the negotiation, the U.S. did a decapitation strike. They seriously wounded him. He's in severe condition, and his wife was killed in the strike. They killed the guy's wife, who they said they wanted to help negotiate the moment he surfaced to try to help negotiate, right? So you had the last time there was a negotiation, that night when a deal was made, that's when the U.S. invaded. Similarly, back in June, the same thing happened. And now they brought out this guy, the old foreign minister, and then they killed the guy's wife, and then they almost killed him. He's in severe condition. We're not sure if he's going to be able to make it, but we'll be following it as well. One other, I think, important signal taking place, right? As Russia is getting richer and stronger, as Iran is getting wealthier and stronger, don't even get me started on China. I mean, China just sits back while its enemy continues to make all of these mistakes. U.S. makes mistake after mistake after mistake, and Donald Trump's like, I can't wait to visit Xi Jinping. It's going to be amazing to visit Xi Jinping. Meanwhile, you have China's foreign minister say, the root cause for disruptions to the passage through the Strait of Hormuz is the illegal U.S. military operations against Iran, right? So you have China just calling out the United States for engaging in war crimes. And then Donald Trump's like, I can't wait to meet with China. So Xi Jinping, I'm building my ballroom for Xi Jinping. I can't wait for him to see my ballroom. Okay, well, all of that's going down. One of the things, and China's getting richer, Russia's getting richer, Iran's getting richer, they're all getting more powerful. One of the things we learned is this, the Financial Times reports, foreign central banks are selling U.S. treasuries in wake of the Iran war. Foreign central banks are selling U.S. bonds at a time when the treasury market is already under pressure as traders worry that the Middle East conflict could drive up inflation. Foreign central banks have slashed their holdings of treasuries at the New York Federal Reserve to the lowest level since 2012, as countries sell the U.S. government bonds to prop up their economies and currencies in the wake of the Iran war. The value of treasuries held in the custody of New York Fed by official institutions, a group that is largely made up of central banks but also includes governments and international institutions, has dropped by $82 billion since February 25 to $2.7 trillion according to Fed data. So we'll keep you posted every step of the way. That's what we got for now. Hit subscribe. We'll get to 7 million subscribers with your support. Thank you so much for watching and have a good one.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.